Welcome to another episode of Leading Las Vegas. I'm Danielle Ford of DanielleFord.com, where visibility makes a difference, and this is my wonderful guest, Sandy Herrera. She is the founder and CEO of Got Core Values, a nonprofit that I am just in love with. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that and how she got started with that.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. So I started Got Core Values 4 years ago. I used to work for Tony Hsieh's other company, Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos.
Right.
And he started another company called Delivering Happiness, not Got Core Values. And with Delivering Happiness, we were focused on transforming corporate culture. And during that time, schools were reaching out and saying, we want to be happy like Zappos too. Can you help us? So I started volunteering my time with these schools and then left Delivering Happiness 4 years ago to solely focus on transforming the culture in our schools.
I love that. I think that's amazing. I think that it's so brilliant to see a need and a way of doing something and then totally alter it to work for a completely different industry. That's just so really insightful and shows what kind of visionary and leader you are. Because a lot of people didn't understand it at first. Right? And you were just kind of plowing through no, this makes sense, this makes sense. And you did it. You recently became, was it licensed, or you got your nonprofit status?
Yes, right? So I became a nonprofit effective in January, and so super excited to be kicking that off and really learning that world. The reason I didn't become a nonprofit right away is because I didn't know that world. I didn't know how to be a nonprofit. And so to actually go through and learn that was detracting from what I was actually wanting to do, which was to work with educators.
That's got to be even more difficult because you learned it, like you said, at a corporate level.
Right.
Obviously, that's not a nonprofit. It's just an innovative way of doing something. And then to take that and make sense to actually raise money for it.
Right.
That must have been really tricky.
So it's a whole new world, and at the same time, a nonprofit is still a business.
Right.
And so running it from that corporate mindset, the more people that I talk to in the nonprofit world, they continue to say, just continue to focus on running it like a business and you'll be successful.
Absolutely. It's a lot of the bleeding hearts that kind of get into the nonprofit and then they feel guilty for asking for money, but really you need to make a bunch of money so you can make your difference in the world.
In order to make a bigger impact. And I really got into this work, and the root behind my passion for it was my son having an unfortunate experience in school during kindergarten. And so I had him, the intention was to send him to Catholic school because brand new parents in Las Vegas, not knowing anything but that the school district was the bottom of the nation. Yeah. And so when we decided to put him into Catholic school, it was, he'll be surrounded with families with similar morals and values, and he can get along with these kids, and it'll be great. And so when we had him tested, he was 4 years old. They do an entrance exam, which is, for me, was weird at 4 years old. I'm like, what do you test? What do you ask him? And anyways, come to find out, he was intellectually ready, but socially, emotionally, as a 4-year-old boy, he wasn't ready. And we were on the fence about holding him back anyways. So we ended up holding him back and sending him to full-day public kindergarten, and then putting him in full-day private kindergarten the following year. And that first day of Catholic school, he has koala-beared onto me as if he had never been to school before. It was just a torturous year. He wasn't happy. They had me thinking something was, that he had some sort of learning disability or ADD or ADHD or something like that. And so I'm having him tested and trying to find out, what am I not seeing as a mom? Because at home, that wasn't who he was. Excuse me. So we ended up finding out that he just has a high IQ, and there's actually no disability, but they're trying to put him into this box.
Exactly.
And he doesn't want to be there. He's bored, and so he's acting out. And so fast forward to Mama Bear actually finally, as a young mom, going, you know what, I know what's best for my son. And I pulled him out of there and put him back into the public school that he was in before, and that principal was amazing. He said, Sandy, bring him back here. I've got you. Hunter's a fantastic kid, and he's going to be fine here.
So you kind of got lucky to have a principal that was that cool then.
I did. In that entire school, and it was about the culture in that school. It had nothing to do with academics.
Right.
And that started my passion for this work, and so then being at Delivering Happiness and seeing it from the corporate workplace side, it just very quickly tapped into my passion for making our schools great places, not only for our educators to work, but for our students to learn.
So what do you think, I'm sure this is a huge topic, we could talk about this forever, but fundamentally, what do you think is wrong with our schools that could be fixed by implementing your program?
So there are a lot of challenges in education globally. There's such a big conversation about the foundation of education was built in the industrial age. So
Right.
if that's how we're teaching children, we're not preparing them for 21st century learners is what we say, and pretty soon it's going to be 22nd century learners,
Yeah.
and we really need to be thinking forward and thinking differently and allowing that creativity and that innovation to happen. And if we're doing it in a structured system that was built for a different era, then it's not serving our children. And so there's that side of the conversation. There's also the side of the conversation that when you look at the shift in corporate culture to be more autonomous, to be more customer service focused, empowerment focused, company culture, happiness, overall holistic well-being as a human focused, and less punching a time clock, and it really, we're getting more productivity. There's tons of studies out there when it comes to positive psychology and neuroscience research about when you focus on the person as a whole human, you actually get so much more out of them in terms of profitability in corporations and productivity regardless of your industry. And so when you look at the program that I put together with Got Core Values, I've combined organizational and relationship systems coaching. So really tapping into who we are as humans, really connecting our core values, not just values we agree with, but our core values, and connecting neuroscience research, connecting positive psychology, and putting all of these things together to create this program where we are focused on our schools as a workplace, and happy teachers make happy students.
This is kind of random, but when you said psychology, this is super random, so I don't know if you would agree with this or not. I've always had this thought of like people or kids we go to school, in public school, and we say the Pledge of Allegiance every single day. And I'm not knocking that, right? Yeah. But it creates adults who are just very American-driven, American-focused. Mm-hmm. Okay, so why don't we have some sort of pledge that we do that is like the same way during the bell, look at a flag and say things like, I promise to love my friends like they're my brother, my sister, and to do my best work. Like, why don't we have that? But we put so much focus on saying the pledge, which the kids don't even know what they're saying. Like, those words are so big, they have no idea what they're saying. They're just reciting it. But it does, over the course of 13 years, take a toll on their mentality, and the psychology is it's like almost like brainwash to like love the flag. What if we were making them love like this type of culture like you're talking about?
I love that. And it's fascinating when you say that. There have been a couple teachers that have actually come up to me when I talk about the whole roadmap and creating their core values for their school and infusing that common language into everything that they do, is that when they were in school, and it wasn't necessarily private school, it was public as well, but they had that school theme that part of their announcements were exactly what you're talking about, and they still to this day as adults remember what it was.
That's really interesting.
And it was all about positivity, and it was about, who are we together as human beings, and that's what I do is I survey the entire school community, so all educators, all support professionals, all students, all parents and families and their community partners as well, and say, what are your core values? Not what are just values you agree with, but what are your core values? And we put them all together and we find the most common ones, and then we wordsmith them into this actionable and committable statements that allow them to design their culture around those values so that every decision at the school is made rooted in the values of the entire school community.
I really love that. We were talking before about the roles that teachers play, and I thought this is a little controversial, but I thought it was really important how you said that so many parents are student-focused. They'll be like, my student needs this, and why did you do this?
Right.
I'm a parent, like, we're kind of through,
we've
gotten through the elementary part, and it's just, my student didn't get this. My student, what about these kids?
Right.
But what you said is that you believe that it should be more teacher-focused, right?
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little more about that?
I am such a proponent of, teachers and support professionals first. If we are not putting them first, then how can they do their job to take care of the students? Right. And there's so much focus on students first. Please don't stop taking care of the babies. By all means, keep them safe, educate them, But if you, as an educator, and even the support professionals that are the glue that hold our buildings together, if they are not empowered and treated well and able to fill their cup as a human when they show up to work every day, then how can they do their best for our students?
It like ripples down when you walk in, that
Absolutely.
very first admin person there that's like saying hello.
You know the culture of the school, right, when you walk in. Yeah.
It's going to make a difference the way that like the parents talk to that person or the way they position their problems, depending if that person's happy or not.
Right.
And they can't fake it. You have to treat them well.
Exactly. You know, at every school you walk into, even if they're right next door to each other, the culture is different.
Yeah.
The culture is the collective capacity of who everyone shows up as that day. And so if we're focused on empowering them to show up as their best selves, then we're able to help our students achieve. And then it has that ripple effect into test scores, into overall success for education statewide, district-wide.
When somebody donates to Got Core Values, where does that money go?
So it depends. There are different ways that they can donate. They can contribute to our overall mission and just say, hey, Sandy, this is, do what you do.
Do what you do.
Do what you do. I got you. The other way is they can actually sponsor a school.
That's cool.
And the average sponsorship for a school for a year is about $20,000, which includes all the surveys and assessments that I take the leadership team through. And
That's like amazing. A company could easily do that.
absolutely.
People blow so much more money than that on silly things all the time. That's
Right.
really amazing. And if somebody wants to help, or even if they just want to connect with you or follow along to how your nonprofit is progressing, where can they find you and how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can definitely find me at anything on social media, Got Core Values. You can also find me at School Sandy, and my website is gotcorevalues.org.
I love it. Thank you so much. You guys, if you have any more questions for Sandy, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I will make sure that she gets them. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to another episode of Leading Las Vegas. I am Danielle Ford of DanielleFord.com, and this is Sandy Herrera, my wonderful, wonderful guest. We will see you in another video. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.